Joining us in studio, our political correspondent, Batya Leventhal. Interesting to hear Bezalel Smotrich, who's had his differences with this government, with Prime Minister Netanyahu, trying to be the peacemaker there, Batya. We should know Gvir says he's not going to vote to topple the government, meaning in a no-confidence vote. But still, if he continues to boycott the coalition, the government can't function. Ultimately, he would have to vote for that budget on May 29th, or the government would fall. So this can't go on forever.
Absolutely. And we are talking about the fifth day already of the boycott. And again, just as Owen mentioned in his report, that this relates all again to the fact that he is not happy with what he called a feeble Gaza policy, but also relating to what's going on in the West Bank with regards to what happened on Friday in returning the Palestinian bodies, Palestinian terrorist bodies, I might add, from the Lion's Den organization that operates in Nablus to the Palestinian Authority in Ramallah. He is seriously not happy and saying that he's only going to come if certain conditions are now met. Now, originally, those conditions were simply honoring the agreements that the factions signed with Benjamin Netanyahu's Likud party when he joined the government, being that they wanted what they called this full right-wing government that had stronger security policies which he campaigned on, but also which he's being called out for because of the fact that there are an increase in terror attacks and there's an increase in violence, predominantly against women, domestic violence in the country, and also against the Arab-Israeli population. And so now he's saying...
He's the National Security Minister in charge of police. This falls under his
jurisdiction,
yes.
Exactly. And so now he's coming out with new sort of points to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, whose entire party put out a statement to say if he's not happy with the way that, you know, we are governing, he can always leave. To which he responded, well, they can fire me. But he is saying that he wants there to be a more serious operation in the West Bank. Exactly, for him to be able to come back. So there's a new demand being put on top of the old demands. It's interesting, as you mentioned, that his partner in his power couple, again, they ran on a joint ticket, that's Bezalel Smotrich, is calling him out. But as you mentioned, there's sort of a sideline role of him trying to fit into Isaac Herzog, the president's shoes of trying to be the peacemaker, calling out both Itamar and Gvir, but also Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu around 5 days ago, saying all sides need to calm down because the best thing that the terrorists and the leftists, I might add, he put in the same bracket there, want is for us to be able to topple a fully functioning right-wing government.
Right. Just a word about the budget. We should note it is not uncommon for any Israeli government that brings in the ultra-Orthodox parties, including governments that have been more on the left, to be generous with budgets to those yeshivot, those educational institutions, to buy political peace. Though, again, the Likud suffering in the polls right now, elections are imminent, and that may not be, that budget may provide some ammunition for the opposition beyond other issues as well.
And it already is. As you mentioned, it's not uncommon. This is part of the society, the same way that the Arab Israelis are part of society, as well as the secular, as well as the ultra-Orthodox. It's part of the yearly budget that goes through anyway. What's happening now is we are seeing members of the opposition, like the Labour Party head, Merav Michaeli, who's coming out and saying this is just a bribe to push more extremism, that a lot of these, what she called million-dollar budgets for different aspects are going towards the ultra-Orthodox parties like Shas and United Torah Judaism in order to keep them happy and to keep them riding alongside Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. She's saying that this could not come at a worse time when you juxtapose it with the fact that Israel is currently in the midst of, like most Western nations at the moment, high inflation, a dropping economy, but more so than that, the fact that the ultra-Orthodox community has very low enlistment into the Israeli army rates and also very high unemployment rates.
Right. Or we should say that they're not, the workforce partition rate among males in the ultra-Orthodox sector is way below the general population. Batya Leventhal, thank you for that.